all 4 Chinese teams have been sent home from Valorant Champions, alongside fan favourites like Sentinels, Team Liquid and T1. The group stage was filled with drama, but we now know all 8 teams who will be competing in playoffs. Things are really starting to heat up in Paris. The second round of the group stage at Champions Paris got underway on Wednesday, where we saw Paper X take on Giant X for a spot in playoffs. And despite a narrow loss on map 1, the Masters Toronto champions continue to prove why they're one of the tournament favourites.
Something ready for it, turns to flash, and now for contact is just too good! What an opener!
Instant seized with the nade this time. Not going to catch the flash, is amazing! And Jig collects all 3!
PRX knew exactly what they were walking into this time!
Fastest round I've ever seen in Valorant. I mean, what was that, 5 seconds? Cloud watching the flank, Flickless getting the spike down. What can Cloud do? 1 for 1. One more kill for Flickless, he'll get that rolling thunder.
3 up though for GX, they don't have a lot to work with. Flickless needs to frag, something that gets swung on, it's going to be Ara finding his, but Padman comes alive! And Flickless solo on the side. Hardest rolling thunder's there, he can make use of it now, the 1v1, but Device swings on in. And finally, GX are forced to succumb. The overpowering pace, shooting power of this PRX team will send them first into the playoffs.
To nobody's surprise, Paper X qualified for playoffs with relative ease, and something continues to look like arguably the best player in the world. But next, we need to talk about the second match that day, which was a little more interesting.
Before we get into the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Omen, who are our portal to possibility for sending us to amazing esports events all over the world. This time, we're in Paris covering VCT Champions to truly find out who is Valorant's best team. Unleash your ultimate gaming potential with the Omen Max 16 laptop. Crafted for powerful performance, the Omen Max 16 is equipped with up to an Intel Core Ultra 9 processor, offering gamers desktop-level performance anywhere encased in a light, portable body they can take on the go. Then there's also its groundbreaking new self-cleaning fan technology called Fan Cleaner. Powered by Intel, this built-in feature periodically reverses the fan's direction to prevent dust buildup for absolutely peak reliable performance. And for the first time ever, Omen gives players the ability to manually overclock their laptop CPU and GPU for max performance up to 250 watts total processing power without having to go into the BIOS. Thanks again to Omen for helping players navigate through any gaming obstacle to reach new levels with the Omen Max 16, now available at omen.com. And now, let's get back to our story.
The second match saw NRG take on DRX in yet another playoff qualification match, and things weren't looking so good for the Americas squad on map 1. DRX dominated them on Haven to take the lead by a decisive 13-4 scoreline. But despite facing more early deficits on map 2 and 3, NRG show that they have the grit to grind things out against some fierce opponents.
Freeing, wrapped around, he falls, Mata gets 2! The young star looking to push NRG there. Questions about when they die they will continue to go unanswered. NRG prove that you cannot kill what you did not create.
NRG have shown some insane amounts of resilience in their opening matches, coming back from massive deficits against both EDG and DRX, but they might not be able to afford to give up so many early rounds in playoffs. I think it's a good sign that Ethan is continuing to develop as an IGL and call them out of trouble, and every NRG player has stepped up in their opening matches too. However, they need to figure out these slow starts. But Thursday gave us more qualifying matches in Paris, with Heretics taking on T1, and they put on a clinic.
Can buy time for Miniboo to set up here from upper. He'll send a nade in now and a light down on the side. Spots Isu instantly dispatches him. And Miniboo is disgusting. Just add water. And you've got a juggernaut out there on A. Lined up for this first clearing of Mound. Stacks and DH going to check the side. Smokes here for DH now. Horn thrown out. Rienz gets contact. DH is low. Oh, you're kidding me. Once again, Rienz genetically engineered to dominate the game! He wants the timing here, gonna try and go after the Sova. Rienz at the back of the site, pinged out by the recon now. It's about to get messy. Rienz backside, found 2 already. Miniboo wants to push out towards that spawn side. DH in trouble, behind the smoke. Stacks gets himself a better rifle. Manages to take care of the recon as well. Around the corner he goes, but Miniboo gets the better of him. And Youngster, up from Academy. DH has it all on his shoulders now. On the other side of the box is Rienz. Gives him a tap, lets him know he's taken account of his presence, and there's just not enough time here for DH. Miniboo here can get to the spike, shows up, but DH finds 4. But they say, all it takes to start a revolution is the whispers of heresy. Los Niños have advanced to playoffs. at Champions 25.
It was hard to gauge just how strong Heretics were heading into this event. Although they won EWC, their performance throughout Stage 2 left a lot to be desired, but they've hit the ground running in Paris. This is a pretty scary team heading into playoffs, and they still want revenge after losing in the Champions final last year. But following Heretics' victory, we saw Fnatic take on MIBR in yet another qualification match, and I think it's safe to say that Aspas is back. He lit up the server on map 1 to give MIBR a dominant victory on Bind, but Fnatic clawed their way back on Abyss. They once again won every single attacking round, just like they did in their opening match against RRQ. And from there, it was almost all Fnatic on map 3. MIBR won some late rounds to bring things closer, but Chronicle crushed all hopes of a comeback.
They had to climb their way back in. And the slide in from Aspas may undo all their hard work. Chronicle in a 1 versus 1, a single shot to lock in playoffs. And he will strike the final blow!
So Fnatic have qualified for playoffs. Similar to Heretics, this is another team who struggled throughout Stage 2, but we know they have a high ceiling. They were finalists in Toronto, and it wouldn't be a surprise to see them make a deep run here too. But after Fnatic qualified for playoffs, we saw teams start battling it out with elimination on the line. First it was Liquid versus the reigning world champions EDG, and map 1 was all EDG. They stomped Liquid on Sunset 13-3. But from there on, it was the Nats show. Liquid's IGL led the charge, going 27-7 on Abyss and 27-17 on Bind to keep their tournament hopes alive while eliminating EDG. It was a vintage Nats performance, but a disappointing end to EDG's season. It was always going to be hard to replicate last year's success, but without Simon, they just looked like a shadow of their former selves. But the second match that day was a pretty big upset. Sentinels took down XLG on map 1 to extend their impressive run of form against Chinese opposition, but China's number 4 seed eventually put their foot down. They won a close battle on Lotus, and on Haven, they broke Sentinels' hearts.
Paranoia's in, trying to slow down that roll, trying to buy them some time. Has to try and fight 30 HP. I think they might have just done this. XLG are sending Sentinels home!
Naturally, people immediately start talking about roster changes, and here's what former Fnatic coach Mini had to say.
The team should consider roster changes for sure. Like, you can't not consider a roster change at the end of a season. The most important thing is how the team connects and vibes, right? That is the most important thing. The vibes and connection between the players. Like, I'd even argue 2023 Fnatic didn't have the best this, but like we had so many good players it didn't matter. And so you don't know behind the scenes what it's like working with these players and how they rub each other the wrong way.
On Saturday, the elimination matches continued as Billy got off to a hot start against RRQ, but on maps 2 and 3, we finally saw a glimpse of the RRQ that everyone expected to see in Toronto and Paris. Jemkin in particular took over on Abyss to get them across the line and send BLG home. It was a pretty brutal showing at Champions for China's number 1 seed, but the disappointment didn't end there for the region. In the following match, G2 dismantled DRG and Demon 1 with ease to keep their tournament hopes alive, while DRG will have to play in China's Ascension tournament for a chance to retain their spot in VCT China. On Sunday, the elimination matches continued with DRX taking on Team Liquid for the final spot from Group C, and this match was really a tale of two halves. The first half of both maps ended 6-6, but DRX went on to run away with things to eliminate EMEA's number 1 seed.
A 4-player stack and a push from Liquid. Yeah, really capturing lightning in a bottle with the way that they're playing right now! Hyunmin can't be stopped! Convergent pass will be the cherry on top! And there is no running, there is no hiding. Trek forced to cower, but you cannot deny it. DRX are so damn back!
Following that match, it was do or die for Giant X and XLG, and Ara put on a clinic to send the 4th and final Chinese team home while qualifying his team for playoffs. It was an absurd performance from the rookie, who was the only player on his team to finish the series with a positive KDA. But on Monday, we were treated to one of the most hyped up matches of the entire group stage, a rematch of the Masters Bangkok final between G2 and T1. Unfortunately, it wasn't exactly the barn burner that we saw back at Bangkok, and it felt like G2 were pretty much in control the entire time.
Potential of a heat check here, but that's just dodged into the side, and wow, just bites his time perfectly. It's 2 laid down, and Valen will follow up with that 1-2 punch. Hell of a combo, and hell of a shot by Valen. In a spot like this, still that ult held, but Meteor is back to everyone. And Jorgamo's going for the death blow. He's trying to finish this up and wrap up map number 1 in style. Bozu shrugs off the damage,
You need to be winning that now. Valin, classic in hand. He's done more than enough damage here with the judge into close proximity. This is really dangerous. T1 are being ripped apart, ripped to shreds. It leaves toying with them, playing with their food. They put them in the grave and they send them home. G2, they qualified for playoffs.
In the end, G2 got their revenge on T1, earning the final spot in playoffs for their group and sending the Pacific number 3 seed home. Aside from an early loss to Heretics, G2 have looked solid in Paris, and there's no doubt that they're still among the favourites to take home the trophy. But the final match of the group stage saw MIBR take on RRQ for the final spot in playoffs, and the Pacific number 2 seed went out with a whimper. Aspas and MIBR got things done in commanding fashion to prove they're still a team to look out for.
The Aldrome comes in, a vulnerable target found. Crazy guy on a platter.
Now, Anti Cortesia winning out. Jemkin will fall. Xfero's still here, but so committed.
Oh, and look at the wrap. The spike is coming through this way. Xfero tries to take a stand, but he falls eventually. A 4v2, Cushy and Monyet. It's time to dig deep as you can. It's so desperate, and it looks so easy for MIBR.
Following that match, we were treated to the playoffs draw show, and here's how things played out. Fnatic will take on DRX for the 5th time at Champions. PaperX and G2 meet once again. MIBR got their wish, and they'll be facing Heretics, and NRG face off against Giant X. Guys, it's time for the real tournament to begin. Playoffs get underway on Thursday, and we'll be on the ground in Paris, so make sure to stay tuned for all the action.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning into today's video. All year we've been traveling around the world with our friends at Omen to bring you coverage of the biggest events on the esports calendar. As part of that, I'd like to ask you all if you could fill out the survey via the link in the description below so we can continue to bring you the content we know that you love. It really helps us out. Thanks for watching.